Hi, I'm Jerry Hammer. I'm General Manager of the Minnesota State Fair. During the last couple months, we've been doing everything we can to present a fair this year. And this is the time of year, right now, where we really need to take off. But we're out of runway. We can't get it in the air. And there will be no state fair this year. Now, it's very complex. It's very difficult. It's a decision that was based on many different factors, but two things in particular are at play and that are most important. And the first is of course people's health. And we don't know what it's going to be like in August. Nobody does. And we're all hoping to turn a corner here real quick. But even in the best case scenario, the science shows us that by the end of August, at best, we'll be taking pretty slow steps in terms of getting back together and getting into mass gatherings. And that's not good enough for a full speed run like the State Fair Marathon is. And what would need to happen here in that very short amount of time just again is really not the fair, and it's not something that we can do. It's not possible. The fair is built on an incredibly vast and complex network of people and institutions, of agriculturalists, educators, volunteers, vendors, amusement operators, literally thousands of people. And they're the pillars on which the fair is built. Your staff is very dedicated to bring you the very best fair they can every year. And they'll continue doing that. They're focused on the future. They're focused on doing what's right for everybody. And that's our millions of guests every year. And we need to provide the very best experience we can. We've heard from some folks that are huge fair fans, and they so desperately want to come to the fair that they've asking why we couldn't implement social distancing and wear masks and take temperatures and all of those sorts of things. But that's just not the fair at all, and it's not possible to do those kinds of things. And ultimately, the real question is, if health is at risk where you need to do those things, then we shouldn't be doing an event like this. The only way the fair can really succeed and be all that it can be is when we can operate the way we normally do, and that is where everybody's out here together enjoying each other and celebrating. And it's kind of hard to celebrate with a mask. Can you imagine social distancing on a park and ride bus? One to a boat at the old mill, or one at a time down the giant slide? How about a grandstand concert where 3/4 of the seats are empty? Our youth agriculture programs would be in very tough shape right now. That's FFA and 4-H in particular. A lot of their activities are based on school and what's happening with school projects, and school hasn't been in session since the middle of March. Housing at the fair would also be a real challenge with dorm space in the 4-H building and elsewhere. The typical experience is just not something that we could provide, because again, we don't know what things will be like in August, but we do know there will still be a lot of restrictions on what we're able to do. Having no fair this year is difficult for everyone, starting with the fair. We need to hold everything together and keep the operation going with no revenue, but we can do it. We've been working on this for a little while now. As soon as we figured it was a possibility, we started putting some plans in place, and we'll be okay. We'll be okay for this year. This is going to be tough on everybody, but we need to do this for the future. It's the right thing to do. We can't go forward and take this huge risk on a fair this year. We'd be putting a lot of people's health at risk, and we can't do that. And we understand that it'll be difficult for folks, but it's difficult for everybody. But we'll look into the future, and that's what we need to do. That's why we're doing this. The fair's been around since before Minnesota was a state, and it survived no fairs before. This is not unprecedented. This has happened before, and the fair has succeeded and thrived, and it needs to do that in the future. And if we're going to build a stronger fair, a better fair, then we need to take this year off from having a fair so we can guarantee the fair's future will remain hopeful and bright.